This is your WGBW Daily News Roundup for the Talk of Green Bay, 97.9 FM and 1590 AM.
Civic Media News, I'm Terry Bell. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. Vice President Kamala Harris will talk about the economy and apprenticeships when she visits Wisconsin next week. Her visit to Madison will be her second trip to Wisconsin this year and the sixth time since taking office. Observers expect Wisconsin will be one of just a few states to tip November's presidential election. A new bill in Congress would give state and local governments the final say about resettling refugees anywhere. 75 refugees plan to move to the Eau Claire area this year. Congressman Tom Tiffany says only a handful of local officials knew about it early on. His bill would give them more power to stop resettlements. $32 million cut from Wisconsin state universities is now restored. The Joint Finance Committee put the money back yesterday. Republican Representative Tony Kurtz.
It's not that we don't want to fund them. We can fund them until the cows come home. But fiscally, it doesn't make sense because we simply do not have the students.
Democrats are slamming the Republican maneuver.
It was never proposed that this delay was intended to find additional resources to assist all students. This delay was created in order to remove resources from certain students.
Representative Tip McGuire. The $32 million is going from diversity efforts to workforce development. 3 Republican state senators now live in the same Northeast Wisconsin district under new maps for the legislature going into effect this year. Rob Coles tells Channel 11 in Green Bay he plans to move from his longtime home in Alloway to try to stay in office. Eric Wimberger plans to stay put, and Andre Jacques might run for Congress. Some changes may be coming to Wisconsin's Office of School Safety if it doesn't get more money. Attorney General Josh Kaul is asking lawmakers for more money for the office's 24-hour tip line. Federal money is keeping it open for the rest of this year. Kaul's plan would use money the state gets from concealed carry permits after that. You've heard of inflation, but what about shrinkflation? Senator Tammy Baldwin tells Civic Media's Chad Holmes companies are putting less product in their packaging, but charging the same.
Wheaties went from a family box of 16 ounces to 14 ounces. With some of the dish detergents, they actually haven't shrunk the size of the bottle. They just put less liquid in it.
Baldwin's Shrinkflation Prevention Act would empower lawyers and regulators to fight back. I'm Terry Bell, Civic Media News. Now here's what you need to know closer to home.
For WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. As the search for 3-year-old Elijah Vu enters day 11, people who wish to donate to the reward or the search efforts to find the toddler can now do so online at 2-rivers.org. Meanwhile, Christina Bauer, Elijah's mother, who's being held on child neglect and obstruction charges, has requested that her $15,000 bail be modified to allow her to be released on a signature bond. A motion filed in Manitowoc County Court says she is unable to pay her bond. A hearing date has not been scheduled. Police arrest a 41-year-old Milwaukee man in connection with a toddler's death from an overdose in Freedom. Outagamie County Sheriff's Office said the man was booked into the Outagamie County Jail on charges of possession with the intent to deliver fentanyl, possession of a firearm by a felon, possession with the intent to deliver THC, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Deputies say the man is being held on a $250,000 bond. A 26-year-old Menasha man is sentenced to 14 and a half years in federal prison for drug trafficking and firearm charges. Court records claim agents found over 9,000 fentanyl pills in the form of counterfeit Percocet. They also found 3 handguns, including one with no serial number, and $50,000 in cash during a search of Gene Wolf's home in August of 2023. Wolf pleaded guilty to unlawfully possessing a firearm and admitted his role in trafficking fentanyl throughout the Fox Valley. Don't get caught in a scam. Neenah police are warning residents that a scam caller is impersonating a sergeant of theirs to call residents about a, quote, legal matter. The scammer then attempts to collect money or information. Never give personal or financial information in response to a request you don't expect, and resist the pressure to act immediately. Scammers prey on fear to get personal information. Other law enforcement departments, such as the Winnebago County Sheriff's Office, have cautioned on similar scams in the past. Appleton alderperson Kristen Elfheim has announced her candidacy for the newly drawn Senate District 18 seat. It's an open Senate seat that stretches from Appleton to Oshkosh.
We all share similar issues, whether it be industry or community, and having one voice speak for all of us, I think, is extremely important.
Elfheim, who describes herself as a moderate Democrat, says she is proud of her work in the Fox Valley and is ready to take her vision to the state legislature. And that's what you need to know. I'm Lisa Hale, WGBW News.
It is going to be sunny and mild today, up to 51 for a high this afternoon. A little breezy with wind out of the southwest at 10 to 20. We may have a gust or two up to 25 or 30 today. Tonight, partly cloudy, 34. Tomorrow, sunny, 56. By Sunday, partly cloudy with a high of 62. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Current temp now 37.
The Bucks get another win. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Bucks beat the Hornets in Charlotte 111-99. How nice was it to see the Bucks pass the ball around on offense? Doc Rivers.
It sure is nice. You need your stars to be the guys to make the right plays, and they did that. So Giannis and Dame started it. And, Brooke tonight, and extra passes, Bobby extra passes. Pat Connaughton walked by me in the third quarter and said, is this what you mean by good to great?
College hoops, the Badgers men's team hosts number 13th ranked Illinois tomorrow at noon at the Kohl Center. Women's basketball, Iowa's Caitlin Clark announcing she will enter the WNBA draft this year. Baseball, the Brewers beat by the Rangers 7-5. The NFL scouting combine continues in Indy. Clemson defensive back Nate Wiggins, ranked one of the best, asked if he'd been interviewed yet by Green Bay.
The Packers, yes sir. Their defense is like what I like. Man-to-man, press man, following the best receiver, lock him up. That's what I like to do.
Defensive back Nate Wiggins with sports. I'm Mike Clemens.
I'm Pete with the 60-second Showbiz Beat. Rocker Liam Gallagher had some choice words for fellow Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees. Using poor grammar, Gallagher claimed he's, quote, done more for rock and roll than all them clowns on that board, referring to his fellow nominees. Rumor has it that later he even threw in a double negative. By the way, his fellow nominees he supposedly towers over: Peter Frampton, the Dave Matthews Band, Kool and the Gang, Foreigner, Lenny Kravitz, Ozzy Osbourne, Jane's Addiction, Mary K. Blige, and Cher. Liam Gallagher was part of Oasis, by the way. The fact that needed to be said, well, you get it. In a related story, only the Gang was initially nominated to the Hall, which surprised frontman Kool. Eventually, the Gang put enough pressure on the powers that be, and Kool was nominated as well. This is reminiscent of when Gladys Knight and two of the Pips were left off the ballot, and only one Pip got in. Here's to the hardworking backup singers of the world. We salute you. Stand-up comedian and Curb Your Enthusiasm actor Richard Lewis passed away earlier this week at the age of 76 after suffering a heart attack. Lewis had recently retired from stand-up comedy after 50 years, announcing that he was battling Parkinson's disease. Curb Your Enthusiasm creator Larry David, who met Richard Lewis for the first time when they were 12 years old at summer camp, said after hearing the news that Lewis had that rare combination of being the funniest person and also the sweetest person. But today, he made me sob, and for that, I will never forgive him. Feel like cutting loose? Head to this year's Milwaukee Film Festival to check out the classic dance film Footloose. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel's Chris Foran reports that the 2024 festival, in its 16th year, is starting to announce movies for this year's movie extravaganza, which will run from April 11th until the 25th. Bear in mind, however, it might still be a bit chilly to kick off the Sunday shoes. Paramount Plus has announced a Ray Donovan spin-off 4 years after the show was canceled. People magazine reports Guy Ritchie will direct the 10-episode series, which is slated for release later this year. The show Ray Donovan ran for 7 seasons and starred Liev Schreiber as the title character. A subsequent feature film was released that ended with Donovan headed to prison. There is no word yet on whether the Emmy-nominated Schreiber will appear in the new series. Heath Ledger died with a script in the bed next to him. The actor passed away due to an accidental drug overdose at the age of 28 in 2008. The New York Post reports that director Stephen Gaghan, who won the Best Adapted Screenplay Oscar for the movie Traffic, told author Malcolm Gladwell on his podcast that Gaghan wanted to turn Gladwell's book Blink into a movie starring Ledger. Gaghan said after the Oscar-winning Ledger's death, he could not go forward with the project. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, every night between 7 and 9 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
That's your WGBW Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at WGBW.FM.